So here are the answers to the questions at the end of the previous chapter. Hopefully you've got all these right. So why don't you tick these off before we go on to limestone. Uses of limestone. Now, limestone blocks are important building materials in themselves. We construct buildings out of limestone blocks. And limestone is made up of mostly calcium carbonate, CaCO3, which is itself a useful substance for making other things. Examples of other things: limestone is heated with clay to make cement, and the cement can be mixed with sand to make mortar, which is a paste used to bind bricks together when building walls, or the cement can be mixed with sand and aggregate, which is gravel, to make concrete. So limestone and products from limestone may be used as a building material in addition to building materials such as timber, stone, glass and steels. The limestone cycle. So, what can we do with limestone? Well, if we're not going to use limestone blocks to build buildings out of, then we can heat the limestone. So we start out with the limestone, CaCO3, and it can be heated in a rotary kiln. So here's a rotary kiln. Now, rotary means it rotates, it spins round to agitate the limestone lumps in the kiln, and kiln is just a big oven. Basically, it heats things up. So limestone goes in at the top, hot air is blown in at the bottom, and the products are calcium oxide and CO2. So CO2 is given off as a gas and calcium oxide is a solid. Now calcium oxide reacts with water. So here you see calcium oxide reacting with water to form calcium hydroxide, otherwise known as lime water. Now this is an important alkali. It's used in industry for neutralizing acids. Now, if calcium hydroxide is allowed to react with CO2 again, then it will reform calcium carbonate. Remember that calcium hydroxide or lime water can also be used as a test for carbon dioxide gas. If CO2 gas bubbles through it, it turns milky. That's because it's forming tiny specks of calcium carbonate, which are insoluble, so it makes opaque little specks. Carbonates and acids. Now, carbonates of calcium, magnesium, copper, zinc and sodium all react with acids to produce carbon dioxide, a salt and water. And if the rainwater is acidic, then the limestone, the calcium carbonate that our buildings may be made out of, react with the rain, and then it gets dissolved away. So this is a chemical reaction. For example, CaCO3, calcium carbonate, plus H2SO4, sulfuric acid, form calcium sulfate, that's the salt, plus carbon dioxide plus water. Or sodium carbonate, Na2CO3, reacts with hydrochloric acid, HCl, to form sodium chloride, that's our salt, plus carbon dioxide plus water. And remember, if you're testing for CO2 gas, you use lime water and the positive result is that it turns milky. Quarrying. Now, what does quarrying actually mean? And it means clearing large areas of land, of trees and habitats. So you're clearing away acres and acres of trees and habitats. You move all the earth and you dig up many tons of rock. Now, the rocks provide many useful and important materials, but there are disadvantages as well as advantages to quarrying. So let's have a look at the environmental, social and economic effects of quarrying. Disadvantages, environmental-wise, is that it destroys habitats and there's noise pollution from the blasting. But the advantages are that when the quarries are finished with, they can be used as landfill or amenity sites. When the quarrying stopped, they can be filled with water and turned into lakes. Social effects of quarrying. Now, the disadvantages are that the noise, the dust and the traffic from the quarry causes a nuisance to the people in the local area, but the advantage is that it will create local jobs. Economic disadvantages. Well, the quarry may affect house prices in the area. Nobody wants a quarry to set up shop in their local area. But the advantages are that the money spent by the quarry employees in the local area can boost the local economy, and also quite often the mining companies may invest in the local infrastructure. For example, they may build a nice new road or a lovely bypass for the town, which is an advantage. Okay, so quickly test yourself. Hopefully you've printed out all these notes so you can answer it now and find the answers at the beginning of the next chapter.